Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. Gotham City's skyline glowed against the stormy night. Flashes of lightning lit up the jagged architecture, casting long shadows that danced across the rain-soaked street. The citizens were used to bad weather, but this storm felt different, more dangerous. Somewhere in the heart of the chaos, a single figure moved through the darkness, like a phantom. Cloaked in shadows, Batman scanned the skyline, his eyes narrowing at the sight of Gotham's flickering power grid. Something was off. The Batcomputer's analysis had confirmed his suspicions. These weren't T-natural storms. The electrical surges were too concentrated, too specific in their destruction. Every lightning strike had a purpose, crippling Gotham's infrastructure one piece at a time. Batman, his grip tightened on his grapnel gun. Whoever was behind this knew Gotham better than most. Alfred, Batman spoke into his communicator, his voice low and calm despite the growing tension. Track the energy surges. They retargeting key points in the city power plants, substation. We were dealing with someone who knows how to cripple the grid. The reply came swiftly through the comm. Already done, sir. I've detected a pattern, and I must say it, as quite alarming. The power surges are moving toward the Wayne Enterprises substation. If it goes down, most of Gotham's central districts will be without power for days. Batman's jaw clenched. I am heading there now. As he moved through the city, his mind raced with possibility. The raw power being wielded here was far beyond anything Gotham's usual criminals could manage. This was something different, something more calculated. His thoughts were interrupted by a sudden burst of lightning striking a nearby building, sending sparks raining down onto the streets below. The storm was intensifying. In the distance, a red blur streaked across the city, moving faster than the eye could follow. Barry Allen the Flash was on his way. The Flash came to a stop beside Batman, his red suit glistening with rain, a wide grin on his face despite the chaos surrounding them. Batman, long time no see, you called for backup. Batman nodded curtly. This isn't a normal storm. Someone's manipulating the lightning targeting Gotham's power grid. Flash's expression grew more serious. Lightning manipulation, that's not something you see every day. You think it's unconnected to the Speed Force. Batman turned, his cape billowing in the wind as he began to explain. Possibly the energy signatures are unlike anything I've seen. They were fast, precise, almost like they were being channeled by something or someone. A loud crack echoed across the city, and both heroes looked up just in time to see a bolt of lightning strike a nearby power station. Flash's eyes widened. That sound our guy. Without hesitation, Flash took off, the world blurring around him as he raced toward the source of the disturbance. Batman followed, using his grapnel to swing between buildings, his mind already calculating the next move. Whoever was behind this had to be stopped, and quickly the entire city was at risk. As Flash neared the power station, he saw a figure standing atop one of the transformers, bathed in the glow of raw electrical energy. Sparks danced across the figure, his body crackling with power. His eyes glowed with a dangerous intensity, and lightning arced from his fingertip. Voltaires, Flash muttered under his breath. He recognized the villain immediately. Voltaires was a minor metahuman who had recently surfaced, but it looked like he'd found a way to enhance his powers drastically. Flash Voltaires called out, his voice distorted by the electrical currents surging through him. I've tapped into something far greater than the Speed Force with this power. I'll control Gotham and then the world. Flash stopped a safe distance away, readying himself for the fight. You think you can take on both me and Batman? You're about to learn the hard way. Voltaire sneered, electricity coursing through his veins. I don't need to be faster than you, Flash. I just need to be smarter. Before Flash could react, Voltaire sent a massive bolt of lightning directly at him. The Flash dodged, moving at super speed, but the attack was faster than he anticipated. The bolt grazed his arm, sending a jolt of pain through his body. You'll need more than that, Flash quipped, shaking off the numbness in his arm. He quickly turned to the comlink in his ear. Batman, we've got a serious problem. This guy amped up his power to insane level. From a nearby rooftop, Batman watched the battle unfold. His mind was already working through possible strategies, calculating Voltaire's weaknesses. The electrical energy was tied to the city's power grid, which meant there had to be a source, a way to cut him off. I'll handle the power source, Batman replied calmly. Keep him busy. Flash smirked. That's all I'll do, Beth. With a burst of speed, Flash sprinted toward Volterra's, moving faster than the eye could see. He landed a punch to Volterra's side, the impact sending a shockwave through the air. But Volterra's barely flinched, retaliating with a surge of electricity that forced Flash to retreat. You can outrun lightning, Flash. Volterra's taunted, sending bolts of energy in every direction. Flash gritted his teeth. This was bad. Volterra's was more powerful than he'd expected. He couldn't do this alone. Batman, meanwhile, had made his way into the substation's control room. The power systems were overloaded, sparking dangerously as Volterra's drew more and more energy. Batman's fingers danced across the console as he attempted to reroute the power, cutting off Volterra's supply. But Volterra's wasn't tackling down without a fight. Sensing Batman's interference, he unleashed a massive wave of electricity that surged through the station, sending Batman flying across the room. Batman, Flash's voice crackled over the comlink. "I am fine," Batman replied, picking himself up from the ground. His suit had absorbed most of the impact, but he could feel the strain in his muscle. He wasn't as fast as Flash, but he didn't need to be. He just needed to outthink Volterra. Flash continued his relentless assault, using his speed to dodge Volterra's attacks and land quick hit. But Volterra was adapting, his lightning strikes becoming more precise, more controlled. Each time Flash moved, that's enough Volterra's roared, summoning a massive bolt of lightning that struck the ground in front of Flash, forcing him to come to a stop. The air crackled with energy as Volterra advanced, his eyes glowing with power. "You think you can stop me, Flash? I've become more than just a speedster. I am the storm." Flash mind raced. He couldn't outpace Volterra's lightning, not while he was drawing power from the city. He needed a new approach, something Batman would come up with, and then it hit him. Batman had taught him one crucial lesson in all their time working together: slow down and think. Flash took a deep breath, centering himself. He focused on Volterra's, not as a force of nature, but as a man with weaknesses. The speed force was powerful, but it wasn't invincible. He darted forward again, this time not aiming for Volterra's directly, but for the power lines feeding him energy. With precision only a speedster could manage, Flash disconnected the lines, severing the electrical flow. Volterra stumbled, his connection to the city's power weakening. Batman finally regaining control of the substation systems, cut the main power grid, plunging the area into darkness. Volterra's lightning dimmed, and for the first time, the villain looked vulnerable. "You were finished," Flash said, his voice calm and steady. Volterra, now drained of his power, sank to his knees, the last sparks of electricity flickering around him. Batman approached, his silhouette towering over the defeated villain. "Gotham doesn't fall to men like you," Batman growled, his voice low and menacing. Flash nodded, the tension finally easing from his body. "That was close." Batman gave a brief nod in return. "Too close." As they cuffed Volterra and prepared to transport him to Arkham, Flash couldn't help but reflect on the fight. This wasn't just about speed, it was about control, about precision, things Batman had been teaching him all along. Flash wiped the rain from his forehead as he watched the Gotham police take Volterra into custody. The storm, which had raged so fiercely just moments before, was beginning to calm. Thunder still rumbled in the distance, but the worst of it had passed. Batman stood silently beside him, his cape draped heavily over his shoulders, the cowl hiding most of his aggression. It was a familiar scene, chaos, and then the silence afterward. Flash, on the other hand, wasn't used to Gotham's dark atmosphere. It always felt so oppressive, even on nights like this, when they saved the day. "You think he's done for good?" Flash, as the police van pulled away. Volterra securely inside. Batman didn't immediately answer. He had learned long ago that no villain was ever truly finished in Gotham. They always found a way to return. Instead, he turned to Flash, his expression as unreadable as ever beneath the cowl. But we've cut off his power source. He won't be a threat for a while." Flash crossed his arms and nodded. "Yeah, but he was using Speed Force energy or something close to it. That's new. We're gonna have to keep an eye on him." Batman's eyes narrowed beneath his cowl. "And what about you? You lost control back there. You were faster than him, but he almost had you." "Why?" Flash frowned, running a hand through his rain-soaked hair. "I don't know. He was using lightning in ways they've never seen before. It threw me off. He was tapping into something beyond just the city's tower grid. something that felt like it was affecting me directly, like it was drawing from the speed force in a way I couldn't. Batman's gaze shifted, processing the information. He wasn't TA, meta-human. He couldn't tap into the speed force, but he had a lifetime of experience dealing with unpredictable, dangerous foes. That's why you need control, Batman said, his voice a steady growl. You move too fast, rely too much on your speed against someone who can match you. Precision and patience are your best tool. Flash shifted his weight, uncomfortable with the direction of the conversation. Easy for you to say you were used to fighting at a slower pace. For me, everything's happening at 1,000,000 miles per HFY. Batman, lips pressed into a thin line, far then slow it down. Flash opened his mouth to retort, but he stopped himself. He had a point. Batman always had a point. Barry had always prided himself on being able to think fast on his feet, literally and figuratively. But in a fight like this, where every second counted, slowing down and assessing the situation wasn't easy. Flash said after a beat of silence, I never thought I'd be getting tactical advice from a guy without superpower. Batman expression, did he change? You don't need powers to win a fight. Flash smirked. Fair enough. There was a sudden crackle in their earpieces as Commissioner Gordon's soft voice came through the comm. Batman, Flash, I am getting reports of another surge of energy in the northern part of the city. Looks like this might not be over yet. Batman glanced at Flash. We ran it. On it, calling, he replied. Flash's smirk disappeared, replaced by the serious focus he reserved for moments like this. He looks like we've got round 2. Batman fired his grapnel, swinging into the night while Flash took off in a blur of red lightning racing ahead. As he sprinted through the streets of Gotham, dodging cars and pedestrians, Flash raced. He couldn't reshake Batman's words, precision and patience, slow it down. In theory, it sounded simple. In practice, it was an entirely different matter. He reached the Northern District in seconds, stopping just outside an old, decrepit industrial warehouse. The air crackled with residual electricity. Even without Batman's detective skills, Flash could tell something was wrong here. He could feel it in the air, the same energy signature as Volterra. Batman arrived, moments later, landing silently beside him. Sire, this is where the power surge came from. Pry, he said, already scanning the area with his cowl's sensors. Right there. Something else here. Flash took a deep breath. I can feel it too. It's like the speed force is reacting to it. Before either of them could move, a bolt of lightning struck the ground in front of them, forcing them both to leap back. The air shimmered and a figure stepped out of the darkness, electricity sparking at his fingertip. It was Volterra's, only this time he wasn't alone. Behind him stood a massive shadowy figure, cloaked in dark armor that seemed to absorb the light around it. The figure radiated power and energy that Flash had never encountered before. It was as if the darkness itself had taken form. Batman, Flash, Volterra sneered, electricity crackling around him. Did you really think you'd seen the last of me? My master had other plans. Batman's hand moved toward his utility belt, but the shadowy figure spoke before he could act. Enough. You've been a thorn in Gotham's side long enough. Batman. Flash felt a chill run down his spine. This wasn't just another villain. This was something far more sinister. He glanced at Batman, who was already in a defensive stance, eyes locked on the shadowy figure. Who are you? Batman demanded, his voice low and dangerous. The figure stepped forward, his presence almost suffocating. I am the darkness, the speed force you rely on. Flash is just one aspect of the universe. Synergy. I control another, the energy of shadows, the power to bend time and space as easily as you run. Tear Flash sign mind raced, tear that side impossible. The speed force is limited. The darkness interrupted. You've only scratched the surface of what true power is, Flash, and now I am going to show you. Before Flash could react, the darkness raised his hand and the world around him slowed. Not just in the way it always did when he moved at super speed, but in a way that felt wrong. It was as if time itself was warping, bending around him. His legs felt like they were moving through molasses, his arms sluggish and unresponsive. Batman moved, throwing a batarang at the darkness, but it disintegrated in midair, swallowed by the shadow. Volterra laughed, his electrical power flaring to life. This is what real power looks like, Flash, and now you're going to feel it. Flash gritted his teeth, fighting against the pull of the darkness. He tried to tap into the speed force to push past the barrier, slowing him down, but it was no use. The energy of the darkness was too strong, too overwhelming. He could feel it seeping into his body, pulling him into its grip. Batman Ever, the strategist, was already analyzing the situation. You can defeat him with speed. He called out, his voice cutting through the chaos. Gosh, you need to use your mind, Barry. Focus. Flash closed his eyes, blocking out the voices, the noise, the panic. He could feel the speed force inside him, but it was being stifled by the darkness. Batman's words echoed in his mind, slow it down. With a deep breath, Flash did the unthinkable. He stopped. He let the speed force recede, letting go of the desperate need to outrun the darkness. And then, in the stillness, he felt a connection, not just to the speed force, but to the energy surrounding him. The shadows, the darkness. It was all part of the same cosmic force. Barry's eyes snapped open, his mind clear. He wasn't going to beat the darkness by running faster. He was going to beat him by outthinking him. I get it now, Flash muttered under his breath, a small smile playing on his lip. The darkness had power, but he had something stronger understanding. With newfound clarity, Flash moved, not at super speed, but with precision, dodging Volterra's lightning strikes and weaving through the shadowy tendrils of the darkness. He wasn't trying to outrun them anymore. He was working with the flow, bending the energy around him. Batman, seeing the shift in Flash, took advantage of the distraction. In one swift motion, he launched a series of small explosives at the darkness, feet, detonating them in a burst of light. The shadows recoiled, giving Flash the opening he needed. With a final burst of speed, Flash darted toward the darkness, channeling the full force of the speed force into a single punch. The impact was like a sonic boom, rippling through the air and sending the darkness stumbling backward. Volterra screamed as his electrical energy flickered and died, collapsing to the ground. The darkness, weakened by the attack, melted into the shadows, retreating into the night. Flash stood there, breathing heavily, the adrenaline still pumping through his veins. Batman approached, his cape billowing in the wind. "You're sure you figured it out, Gary?" he said, simply. Flash nodded, still catching his breath. "Yeah, it took me long enough." The two heroes stood in silence for a moment, watching as the last remnants of the storm faded into the night. Gotham was safe for now. As they made their way back toward the Batmobile, Flash glanced at Batman. "See you not so bad for a guy without powers." Batman smirked, a rare expression on his usually stoic face. "Tire and you